Okay, the idea behind this video was I have a Fuji X-E1, as you can see here, and I also have quite a lot of original Fuji lenses with the old AX bayonet connection. This is quite one of my favourites. The question is, normally to connect these lenses to the camera, obviously you need an adapter. I have a few of these adapters. One is, I did a video previously on some of these, the Kiwi adapter, which is this one. But of course, because these were designed for a full frame, obviously for a film camera, and the Fuji has a smaller sensor, obviously, as you can see here. It's not full frame, it's not the size of a piece of film. When you connect the original manual lenses to the camera, obviously it changes the lens. So for example, a 19mm, I think you've got to times it by 1.5, is equivalent to 28. So this would be like a 28 on a full. This one would be like a 28 on a full frame camera. So how can I use this 19mm lens as a more or less a 19mm lens? To do that, you need to use a focal reducer or a speed booster, but unfortunately there aren't any for the old Fuji bayonet to the modern Fuji FX. So, but what there is, what I have here, you can get a Minolta MD to Fuji FX speed booster, which is what I have here, which is this, with the screws taken out, and the distance between I can't remember the technical term, the distance between the lens and the film on the Minolta and the Fuji cameras is the same. So theoretically, if we change this adapter to a Fuji adapter, we should be able to use this speed booster to connect the lenses. That was the theory behind it. So what I did was, I bought a very similar looking, I think it's probably the same manufacturer, a very similar looking Fuji AX to FX normal adapter, which I bought off eBay for about 25 euros. And the idea is to put this, to swap this for this. So we now have the Fuji bayonet on a speed booster. As you can see, this one has this bayonet adapter. The original one had 3 screws, this one has 4. None of them coincide. After a bit of trial and error, as you can see, I managed to drill the holes. To do this, you need some tappets, some taps, hand taps. I used M1.6 hand taps. First you have to line this up, drill the holes, and then tap out the screws. There are a couple of problems. One of them is, as you can see here, it's not solid all the way around. This was where the release lever on the Minolta went. Of course, in the case of the Fuji, there's like a little pin. There's like it comes through. Hang on a second. There's a little pin that comes through that hole, which is what locks the lens in place. That pin. Where are we? That pin locks into there. I suppose it would be possible to do it, but it seems like a lot of hassle to me. Also, that's one of the problems. The other problem is, because this isn't solid all the way around, to get the aperture readings in the right place once it's on, this would have to be this would have to be placed here, and of course one of the screws is not on the solid part. I suppose you could drill down and do it with a really long screw, but I couldn't be bothered to do that, so I did it not in the best possible way. I did it with this. It means the aperture reading's at the bottom now, not at the top. That doesn't really bother me, but it works perfectly. I'll just put the screws in a second. Just a second. Okay, so as you can see, I've put the screws in now. All we have to do is line that up on there. This lens can be screwed in or out to adjust infinity focus, and then all that remains to do now is line up the lens. Like I say, it doesn't lock in. I've not got a locking pin. It's quite a firm fit. You need to be a bit careful with them, I suppose, but it is quite a firm fit. And there we have it. We have, as you can see, the aperture scales at the bottom. Unfortunately, I might change that, but it's not a massive problem. And there we have. Of course, the other advantage, the other good thing about these adapters is that this becomes a 19 millimeter becomes a 20 point something millimeter, because you've got to times it by 1.5 and then times it by 0.71 according to the manufacturer, and you also gain a stop. So this is an f3.5, so it becomes an f2.5, I think, yes. And there you have it. This is another nice bit of glass. This is a 50mm f1.2, which I think becomes a 53 f0.8, which is pretty fast. And there you go. Pity somebody doesn't manufacture a proper kosher adapter, but there you have it. So for those of you out there with old bayonet Fuji manual lenses that you want to connect to any of the Fuji range of cameras, this is how you can do it. Okay.